Hey Sassy Nari, welcome to Little Fixes. This is your host Matri, a social media professional, a mother, and a simple yet sassy woman just like you. Join me for sweet, simple, and practical ideas that help you in transforming into your best self. This mental health and personal growth podcast is a reminder that you matter. Hello Sassy Nari, thank you for joining me today. हम अक्सर सुनते हैं कि हाउ समवन बाउंस्ड बैक फ्रॉम अ टफ सिचुएशन एंड वेंट ऑन टू बिकम सक्सेसफुल, हाउ अ सिटी वेंट बैक टू इट्स यूजुअल रिदम आफ्टर अ कैटास्ट्रॉफी. लाइफ में कोई बड़ा चेंज होने के बाद बाउंस बैक करने को रेजिलियंस कहा जाता है. नाउ द थिंग इज दैट बीइंग रेजिलियंट इज नॉट दैट सिंपल. Clinical psychologist Meg Jay says that resilience is not a trait. It's not something you are born with. It's not something you just have. In short, you have to become more resilient. रेजिलियंस आपकी प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व नहीं करती है, बट अ रेजिलियंट पर्सन इज एबल टू सी द बिगर पिक्चर सो दैट दे डोंट ड्वेल ऑन द प्रॉब्लम अननेसेसरीली. चेंजेस से डील करना हो या अपनी फेलियर्स को एम्ब्रेस करना, एक रेजिलियंट माइंडसेट हमेशा हमारी हेल्प करता है. इन द लास्ट एपिसोड सविता नंजप्पा हैड टॉक्ड अबाउट द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ रेजिलियंस व्हेन इट कम्स टू शोइंग अप ऑथेंटिकली, और आज हम जानेंगे कि हाउ वी कैन बी मोर रेजिलियंट. आई विल टॉक अबाउट डेवलपिंग अ रेजिलियंट एंड हेल्दी माइंडसेट विद जया मेहरोत्रा. Jaya is a leadership and transformation coach to Fortune 500s, a motivational speaker, and is the founder of Women Leadership Circle. In this episode, we both have shared some of our challenging real-life situations and how we overcame them. Before hearing from Jaya, please follow Little Fixes on your podcast app and rate and review us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It helps a lot. And now to our guest. Hi Jaya, welcome to Little Fixes.
Hi, thanks for having me here. Looking forward to this delightful and lovely topic of resilience.
Yeah, so am I. So Jaya, start यहीं से करते हैं. How do you define resilience?
So first is my question back to you. I'm sure you've had moments in your life where you had to bounce back. Describe to me what was that journey for you? When you had to bounce back from an event or a transfer or moving to a city, what are the few things you do to bounce back from that moment?
See, currently I have moved to a new city like 7 months back. I moved to Bangalore from Jaipur. So that was also kind of showcase of resilience. It took me some time. It was not easy because you come from a small city, you move to a big city, crowded place. So it's very difficult. But I took my time. Took my time in getting to know the city. पहले तो I was cribbing कि कहाँ आ गए, कैसा है. But slowly I started exploring the city, started meeting the people. I still don't know a lot of people here, but I think accepting it and then seeing कि हाँ अब कैसे इस सिचुएशन को हम बेटर कर सकते हैं, how can we deal with it, how can we turn it towards our good, और क्या चीज़ें एक्सप्लोर कर सकते हैं. आई थिंक उस माइंडसेट के साथ आई एम मूविंग फॉरवर्ड स्लोली एंड आई एम स्लोली enjoying Bangalore now.
Well, lovely. Good to see. And your smile says it all, right? That you're finally enjoying it. So this is what resilience is. We go through change. Life throws curves to us. And sometimes we go through grief, loss. We have to leave our favorite cities because we have to grow. And when we're able to transform ourselves in the process, when we have a setback like that happen, when the status quo changes for us, that is resilience. And as you beautifully said, that first I felt really bad. The first human experience is to feel a sense of loss, to comfort that we've lost, and a sense of, we also feel victimized, that why me? Why do I have to go through? Mera sab kuch itna acha chal raha tha. But then comes the capacity to use that moment to transform and change. And that's the second stage. When we've gotten over the loss, we start accepting. Ab to yahi hai boss. खाने में ये प्लेट मिल गई है, अब इसको कुछ करना है. And that's what changes, right? That are the steps we take to make the best of what we have, and not only just make the best of it, transcend it. We catapult ourselves to the next level. We actually see growth happen in our life. That is resilience.
Yes. Okay, understood. Now, can you also tell us the importance of being resilient in both our personal and professional life? Maybe you have some examples or a story we would like to hear from you.
Just I think taking from your story, your life story of moving from a small to big city, I think it's happened to me 2-3 times. I moved from a small city. I was an army kid, and then I started working in Bombay. After working in that very cocoon environment of being an army kid. You go to your same school, you have a lot of services that are helping you, but you also don't know how to navigate and make new friends. So when I came to Bombay, to make sense of the city was hard in the beginning. But I think because of my childhood and my background of shifting schools every 2 years, I was able to make the best use of my time here. I was okay not to have childhood friends. I was okay not to know anybody in the city. And it's been now what? Well, since 97 I'm here. It's now what year? How many years? 25 years. And I know so many friends. I have made so many people that I know in different walks of life. So that is an important element of being resilient in your personal life. The connections you form, the kind of personal and professional connections you form, and how you develop those connections, they give you a sense of belonging to a place.
Yeah.
And you start calling it home again. And on a very different side, I think one of the other big moments and a very defining moment to me was in 2008 when there was a big global financial crisis happening. And at the same time, I was going through a divorce. And having said that, if you see my resume anywhere, I would call that as the best thing that ever happened to me. What did it feel like it was the best thing? No, it was excruciatingly painful. It felt raw, vulnerable. It felt like, why me? This is unfair. But I think when 3 to 6 months passed, when I started making sense and meaning out of it, that why did I go through this? What was important about it? What was not working for me anymore? And after 6, 9 months passed, the kind of transformation journey I went from there to now, it's a never going journey. I developed a deep sense of self-worth, genuine self-worth, a genuine sense of self-awareness that why the kind of partner I chose was not right for me. I got married at 23. You just, you convert an infatuation into a relationship. And after my divorce, the transformation I went through and the learnings that came to me and the resilience that I developed through that triangle of three things, which is awareness of self, my connection with my own self, and who I was becoming. I was born in the 1970s to parents who were born in the 1940s. So they had given me some qualities that were outstanding, but they'd also passed me things and belief systems that were not working for me. And then, of course, my own, of course, I had great circle of friends and supporters who helped me outgrow that a very big loss in my life. And I think I'm here because of my divorce, as much as because of what my parents did to me, but my divorce was a life transforming moment. So hence, this is resilience, when you're able to turn grief and loss into a moment of transformation.
Yeah. Wow, thank you for sharing that. And also, I think you were, अगर professionally देखा जाए, तो you were a banker. Then you
Yes.
went on to become a coach, like you went out on your own. तो उसमें भी
Yes.
resilience का role जरूर रहा होगा.
Matlab, when you start, I'm going through my third career shift or transition in a way. Like I never completely shift. I was a banker for 18 years and then I became a leadership coach. When you're a banker in a large company like Citibank, you have their visiting card, you have their brand. So doors open for you. And suddenly you become a coach, you spend money training yourself, and you start from scratch again. So you have to drop the idea that people will give you work because you have 18 years of experience. You have to prove yourself over again. And that ability to say that I'm not going to think anything is small. I'm happy to reach out to people and build my practice again was one of the things that I did. And I'm doing that again right now as we speak. I've just started a leadership circle and I'm nimble, agile. One of the things about being resilient is being agile, being nimble, not seeing anything as a small thing to do. Because every time you build something from scratch, your mentality and your mindset has to be, I'm building from scratch. That means I'm the peon of my company, I'm the brand ambassador of my company, I'm the PR, and I'm the worker. So that is the mindset which I have been able to work. Was it easy? No. I'm like, why is other people are not helping me? They've known me for so many years and they should be like just giving me work. I should be respected for so many years of work. So it took a while to kind of peel this thought process, this mindset that nothing is going to come to you on a plate.
Yes, and after listening to you, I also feel that you are the perfect example of resilience in different phases of your life. And we can
Yeah.
learn a lot from your experiences also. So,
Thank you.
Jaya, now let's move on to what you talked about, like the mindset shifts and everything you made a little.
Yes.
So, we also want to know these things a little bit in detail. Like, what are some of the strategies for cultivating a healthy mind and overcoming setbacks in life?
Yeah. So I'm going I think I spoke a lot about overcoming setbacks in different examples. I'm going to just work on the part of healthy mind. I'm going to take that part of the question and go a
Mhm.
little deeper in it and talk from that perspective. So, how does healthy mind happen? Your first step through any setback is that you start questioning who am I and what do I need to become and what is this moment meaning for me? So, a deep sense of self awareness and connection with self.
Mhm.
Yeah. And from that self awareness comes the understanding on what my life should look like, what makes me resilient, what gives me mental, physical, and psychospiritual health. So knowing, you know that we all work from 9 to 6. Some of us work 9 to 5, take a break, then work 7 to 8 like you. Depending on what time you host a podcast, so you have different time of work. But what you do between the time you're not working is what defines your mental health. So
Mhm.
developing some kind of a physical health routine. Maybe at a time in your life, gymming worked for you, and now it doesn't work for you. Maybe you want to start doing yoga. So having some kind of a practice around your physical health. Similarly, having some practice around your mental health. I think 20 years back, mental health was a given. But now with COVID, mental health is not a given. You have to invest time, just like you invest time in physical health. So some kind of creative practices, maybe getting up in the morning and reading something inspiring for half an hour, and then sitting down to do 1 hour of meditation or half an hour of meditation. Some mindful practices is what creates your mental health. And the third most, so this is your mental health from working out, having nutritious food, making sure that you have some well-being practices in your morning or evening routine, and something that creatively fuels you. And the last bit is, of course, the kind of social connections you keep in your life. One is the connection with yourself, and one is the connection with people around you. And that is a big part, your family connection, your connections at work, if your few family members and the few friends, what kind of relationships have you invested in, and how they come through for you and how you come through for them. This is what develops your mental health, and that's what makes us resilient. Did I answer the question for you?
या एंड टॉकिंग अबाउट मेंटल हेल्थ ब्रेक्स कि हम उस टाइम के बीच में क्या करते हैं आई ऑल्सो फील इट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पर्सनली आई लाइक टू रीड और आई लाइक टू मे बी कलर इन कलरिंग बुक और कभी कभी आई ऑल्सो लाइक टेक दिस नेटफ्लिक्स ब्रेक सो डू यू थिंक कि जैसे ये माइंडफुल एक्टिविटीज़ हो गई जैसे मैंने बोला कि पढ़ लिया या फिर कलरिंग कर ली और एक चीज़ हो गई नेटफ्लिक्स जो आजकल बहुत लोग करते हैं कि चलो कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है लेट्स वॉच नेटफ्लिक्स तो डू यू थिंक दैट इज समथिंग लाइक एक माइंडलेस वॉचिंग एक्टिविटी कैन ऑल्सो हेल्प यू लाइक टेकिंग योर माइंड ऑफ इन दैट सेंस या फिर वो आपके माइंड में और ज्यादा चीजें कचरा कर देती है जंबल कर देती है
So I don't think there's anything wrong or right in anything. I do think watching OTT or something, watching something for some time is not a bad thing to do if you do it in a mindful way. Matlab, ice cream or coffee or watching something on TV, all in balance is not a bad thing. For example, I work out of home. My work days sometimes get extended because I am also an entrepreneur. So around 7:38, I would watch something for half an hour so I can shift my stuff. I can switch off and switch on into something. But will I watch for 3 hours? Not at all, because then you're just watching that TV content and you're getting your mind programmed into some thriller or some kind of content which will not help you. So maybe using some things in a healthy and a balanced way is not a bad thing. So a lot of people after a long day watch Friends as a detox for half an hour. It kind of gets them switched off from the day and they're able to switch on to their personal time. Doing things in balance is not a bad thing. Doing anything in excess is then not mindfulness.
Yeah, I agree on that. And
Yes.
also, what about failures? हम फेल हो जाते हैं किसी चीज़ को करने में और फिर हमें लगता है कि हम ही बेकार है हमारा, या फिर काम बेकार है, या फिर मे बी नो बडी लाइक्स वॉट वी आर डूइंग, दे डू नॉट नीड दिस काइंड ऑफ थिंग। ये बहुत थॉट लोगों में होता है। सो क्या ऐसा हो सकता है कि वी कैन व्यू आवर फेलियर्स एज लर्निंग अपॉर्चुनिटीज, जो बोला भी जाता है कि ऐसा आपको करना चाहिए, और
Hmm.
ये होता है कि आपको पर्सनल प्रोफेशनल ग्रोथ की तरफ ले जाता है।
Hmm.
But how to, view your failures as learning opportunities? I'm sure it's not easy. It's not easy for me. And I know a lot of people for who this is also not easy. So I want to understand from you.
Okay, so I'm going to take a step back on why failure is an important thing and how you deal with failure. Two things. One is your understanding of self compassion, how you treat
Mm-hmm.
yourself. There's no chance that you live a life and life will not throw events and things that you not have failure. So getting very comfortable with building a failure resume. You will have a success resume which is visible to the world, but a failure resume will be longer. If I really take out my failure resume, I'm sure I've failed at many things before I succeeded at them. And that's the inherent part of being a human being, living a life. But how do you deal with that failure is how self compassionate you are, how you're able to not belittle yourself, saying, oh, how useless you are, how stupid you are, but able to encourage yourself out of that failure, saying that, okay, I made a mistake, but I've learned from it. So your internal dialogue with yourself has to be very robust. How you would talk to your best friend. आपकी बेस्ट फ्रेंड आके बोलेगी देख मैंने आई डिड दिस मिस्टेक आई थिंक आई हैंडल माई बॉस वेरी बैडली आई हेट माई सेल्फ हाउ विल यू ट्रीट हर यू से नहीं इट्स ओके गो स्पीक टू हिम हैव अ कप ऑफ कॉफी विद हिम restart the relationship. But how will you talk to yourself? Are you useless? You're stupid. So that treating yourself like your own best friend is the first start of how you treat your failure. And second step is vulnerability. Accepting failure and talking about failure is a sign of vulnerability, and vulnerability is a sign of strength and power.
Mm-hmm.
Getting comfortable to be vulnerable. See, talking about divorce and talking about all of this is not easy for most people. But recently I realized when the more you talk about your failure, it allows others to talk about it. And when it allows others to talk about it, there's a sense of connection that gets formed. Oh, you also went through this experience. I had a similar experience. And through that vulnerability, we can make sense of what didn't go well for us and how we overcome it. So, self compassion and vulnerability are the two things in how you handle and getting comfortable to being vulnerable. We don't have to show sign of strength all the time.
View failures as learning opportunities, and the things that you have mentioned कि like इस तरीके का mindset हो अगर, तो we can be more resilient and do like do more with our lives rather than being stuck with
Yes,
that failure that we have just experienced. So
sure.
what about पॉजिटिव एटीट्यूड? ये बोला जाता है कि अपना एटीट्यूड बिल्कुल पॉजिटिव रखो हमेशा, जैसे फेलियर के बारे में भी हमने बात करी कि ये लर्निंग अपॉर्चुनिटी है। तो पॉजिटिव एटीट्यूड, हर वक्त पॉजिटिव रहना, क्या ये रेजिलियंस में हेल्प करता है, या फिर हम लोग कई बार एकदम ही दूसरे स्पेक्ट्रम पे जा सकते हैं कि नहीं, सब कुछ लर्निंग अपॉर्चुनिटी है, सब कुछ बिल्कुल अच्छा है? तो हाउ टू फाइंड अ मिड वे?
Yeah. So definitely having a positive attitude versus a pessimistic attitude is a great starter. But is it possible to have a positive attitude 12 months a year? That's an unrealistic expectation of everybody. Life, in Buddhism, they say life is a form of suffering. So
Yeah.
it's not possible. It's not possible. But yes, how do you transition from a pessimistic, negative attitude to positive attitude is what resilience looks like. How do you, every time when you start having a negative thought process, when something looks very bad for you, transform that into seeing the brighter side of things. Model your internal dialogue with yourself. Reinitiate your thinking mindset is how you develop positive mindset. I would definitely say that constantly having that excessive amount of positive, सब कुछ अच्छा है, सब कुछ rosy है, this is such a cute pink world, सब कुछ cloudy है, that is not possible. We need some realistic, we have to have a discrimination of realistic expectation of things. Positive attitude doesn't mean having unrealistic expectations of things.
ओके, हाँ, पॉजिटिव एंड अनरियलिस्टिक डिफरेंस है।
So, with positive attitude, sometimes we feel कि दुनिया सब, everybody is going to come and help us. Everybody will like us. Everybody will love us. That is not what, and all my projects will succeed. No, my the attitude with which I will approach the project, the intention with which I will approach something will be positive. Will things
Mm-hmm.
go my way? Hopefully, because I'm so positive and I'm giving it my best. But having the acceptance that things will also not go my way.
Hmm. Okay, now that's the word I think we all are looking for, and that's the kind of approach we are looking for. कि हाँ realistic भी होना चाहिए positive होने के साथ साथ. Okay, and now that we have talked a bit about resilience, तो मुझे ये भी लग रहा है कि saying that simply saying कि someone bounced back from a situation, थोड़ा सा उसको सिंप्लीफाई करना भी हो जाता है बिकॉज बाउंस बैक का कई बार मुझे ये भी मतलब लगता है कि हाँ आप गए उसमें नेगेटिव साइड में और देन यू जस्ट बाउंस बैक फ्रॉम इट एंड केम बैक टू द गुड साइड ऑफ लाइफ. तो ये जो कमिंग बैक स्ट्रोंगर या फिर उसको कह सकते हैं बिकॉज इट इट माइट टेक अ लॉन्ग टाइम, इट्स नॉट हम लोग कह देते हैं कि सिंपल है बाउंस बैक कर जाना सिचुएशन से, बट ऐसा
No.
नहीं होता है. We would like to know your insights on coming back stronger after a setback and leading with renewed vigor.
So all the elements we spoke about comes back into this how to come back into to bounce back. One
Hmm.
is that we go through that, as we rightly said, after we go through a bad event, we feel why me and victimize for a bit.
Hmm.
But then slowly we find the need to saying that this is not working, status quo is not working. I need to change something. Then there is a need to have intentionality and
Hmm.
deliberate proactiveness, right? You intentionally start building your life out, going back to things that worked for you before you kind of reach the place where you needed to bounce back from. So maybe starting to meet some of your close friends, building that sense of connection, finding a renewed energy towards your purpose at work.
Hmm.
If you're working somewhere, having a sense of purpose and meaning to work. After a point, none of us can go to work only for salary. We need to have a sense of that I matter and I am going for a reason. So making sense of what is my purpose at work. And then, of course, in your time when you're not working, start getting back into physical activity, having some mindfulness practice. And I think reading is a great way of understanding the world. Maybe sometime taking 10 days off to travel. So you get renewed positive energy when you travel to new places in the world, around the world. You see new sights, you feel refreshed. It's like your mind gets fresh food, organic food when you travel around the world.
Hmm.
Travel, music, storytelling. These are ways through which you start having renewed energy and a positive mindset again. So, building those small steps to get back to feeling optimistic, positive. But we have to be intentional and deliberate. There is no magic show for this. Magic looks like it happened in the end. You are transformed after 1 year of a big loss, and you look, why, how this person has gotten over something so big. Wow, brilliant. And it's so magical. How did she manage or how did he manage? But the
Hmm.
magic was happening for a year, the kind of work they put through to make themselves get to that point. Yeah.
या एंड यू जस्ट सेड कि किसी ने ऐसे बोला कि वाओ शी जस्ट केम बैक इतने सारे सेटबैक्स के बाद भी. इट इज ऑल्सो अ ग्रेट वे टू लीड अस इनटू आवर नेक्स्ट सेक्शन विच इज सैस इट अप. और
Hmm.
सैस इट अप में आई एम गोइंग टू गिव यू अ स्टेटमेंट
Hmm.
एंड यू हैव टू गिव मी अ सैसी कम बैक फॉर दैट. अगर मेरे साथ कुछ हुआ है मेरी लाइफ में कोई ऐसी सिचुएशन आई है विच वॉज नॉट गुड फॉर मी एंड आई जस्ट ओवरकेम इट एंड नाउ आई एम डूइंग माई थिंग अगेन. तो कई बार ऐसा होता है कि लोग बोल देते हैं कि वाओ शी जस्ट वेंट थ्रू अ बिग लॉस बट शी इज बैक टू अ नॉर्मल लाइफ सो सून. शी मस्ट बी
Hmm.
हार्टलेस एंड मे बी शी इज टू एम्बिशियस. कई बार लोग तुरंत जज करने लग जाते हैं कि अरे तुम्हारे साथ ऐसा हुआ था और तुम कैसे इतनी जल्दी वापस नॉर्मल लाइफ में आ सकते हो. तो
Hmm.
ऐसे लोगों के लिए एक सैसी कम बैक होना चाहिए हमारे पास.
That's so for years women have been known to be called too ambitious. So I love being
Hmm.
called you're damn ambitious. I am very, very ambitious and I the sassy comeback is I'm living my life, not your life. And don't confuse my sign of strength as being heartless. And if you
Mhm.
don't understand this, life will teach you.
या एंड ऑल्सो हमने कम बैक तो जान लिया बट अगर मान लीजिए like I'm an understanding person, someone has overcame a setback in their lives, and instead of saying these negative things to them I want to say something good to them, something positive to them. How do I say it without sounding कि मैं उनकी जो स्ट्रगल है उसको मिनिमाइज कर रही हूँ.
So, so I'm going to send a question back with a question.
Uh-huh.
When something like this happened to you, what a friend or some peer made you feel seen and understood? In what way they made you feel seen and understood? What did they do for you that made you feel like, really, I'm feeling seen right now?
Mm-hmm. So I have a few really close friends, and they said to me कि I understand कि हाँ ऐसा हो सकता है because they have also been through like city shifts. और कई बार मुझे ये भी लगता था कि मैं इतनी सी बात पे इतना क्रिंज क्यों कर रही हूँ कि ये शिफ्ट किया है मैंने तो क्या हो गया. लोगों की लाइफ में बड़ी बड़ी प्रॉब्लम्स होती हैं बट स्टिल आई एक्सेप्टेड कि हाँ ये मेरी प्रॉब्लम है. देन आई वर्कड ऑन इट. फिर माय फ्रेंड स्टार्टेड सेंडिंग मी मैसेजेस कि वाओ मैत्री यू आर डूइंग सो वेल और वी आर सो हैप्पी फॉर यू कि तुमने इस सिचुएशन को डील कर लिया. लाइक यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट इट नाउ. और तुमने ये नहीं बोला कि इट वॉज वेरी इजी फॉर मी. यू टॉक्ड अबाउट इट कि हाँ ये मेरे लिए ईजी नहीं है एंड नाउ यू आर डूइंग great again in your life. So
Beautiful.
simple
Yeah,
things like making me feel seen and then encouraging me. I think
beautiful.
that was the thing which I found helpful कि हाँ मतलब मैं सही रास्ते पर हूँ.
Beautiful. So first is that what you did was brilliant. You showed courage by displaying your vulnerability. That मुझसे नहीं हो रहा है, थोड़ा difficult लग रहा है. Maybe दूसरों के लिए आसान है, पर मेरे लिए नहीं है. And then your friends showed you a sense of compassion. They acknowledge that बहुतों के लिए difficult होता है. सबके लिए easy नहीं होता. And a sense of compassion and encouragement and acknowledgement. They validate it. Yeah, we are seeing what you're doing. We are seeing how strong you're being. We are seeing how, in spite of feeling vulnerable, you're finding ways to overcome this. So this is what it looks like to make people feel encouraged. Deliberate encouragement, encouragement and acknowledgement, and a sense of compassion when we deal with other people.
Mhm. Okay, wow. Thanks, Jaya. And now I also want to know if you have any book recommendations for people who want to be more resilient.
Uh, so the one book that I have always kept for the last 7 8 years, and mostly I always recommend to all my clients, and I wish it was educated in a high school and colleges. It's called Vedanta Treatise by Parthasarthi. It's a way
Mhm.
of life. It's a way of life. It teaches us how important it is to have purpose. It's how important to live a life of action. We are not supposed to. It's not written in our scriptures to go to the Himalayas and retire. It is
Mhm.
written in our scriptures through Vedanta and through multiple scriptures, through Mahabharata, and Krishna also says, we have to do clear action with integrity and values. So that book really describes on how having a sense of purpose and a sense of ownership to your life is very important way of living, and how you create relationships, how you take care of your society. It's a beautifully written book, and whenever I've given this book to any, big consulting partners and large companies, they have kind of kept that book on their side, and you can open any chapter and read it from anywhere. The other book, which is specifically around resilience, is called "Obstacle is an Opportunity." I think that's the name of the book. It's by a guy who deciphers Greek philosophy into simple terms. It's by
Obstacle is the
Rai.
way.
Obstacle is the Way, right? Yes, Obstacle is the Way, by an author called Ryan Holiday.
Yeah.
He Every chapter is a 2 3 page chapter or 5 page chapter, and he says that how in the moment of an obstacle you can seize it with deep clarity and convert that into an opportunity. He's described the beautiful campaign of Obama, how people were talking about his background and how he seized that opportunity of race and color, and when he could have just shut himself down, and he actually came into office with very high level of popular vote. So all these moments which are turned look like obstacles and hard moments, how they actually are hidden opportunities in our life to get us to the next level. So that these are the two books. Recently, my mentor gave me this beautiful book as a gift when I met him 2 weeks back for a conversation. And the book is called Inner Mastery, Outer Impact. It's by an author called Hitendra Wadhwa. And I've just started reading it. I've read 3 4 chapters. And he is somebody who studied abroad in Ivy League college, and how he worked in the corporate world, was very successful. But he realized that ultimately nothing is more important than achieving inner mastery. And then if you internally have mastered your own self, you've been able to lead yourself through self leadership, is when you can have an impact in the world at large. So that's my third book, which I'm recently reading, and a very precious gift.
Thank you for sharing those book recommendations, Shreya. Now,
Yes.
before we wrap up this episode, please tell us a little about the work you do and how can people connect with you?
So, as I said, I have two dimensions. I work with in Women Leadership Circle, where we are sponsored by 361, who's our sponsorship partner, who have helped us create this. And there we have a networking platform for women, senior women professionals and women entrepreneurs. And that's just to give community for co-learnings. And we're also developing some great executive programs where women can, upskill and learn to lead in the future. And the outcome and the impact we want to have is we want to have women on senior board positions. And if you want to join that circle, happy to hear. And on my personal side, I also do one-on-one coaching, both on the professional and the personal side, leadership coaching to people across the world, and on the personal transformation coaching to anybody. I think in India, people are not used to spending and investing in coaches. It's a practice that's happening, but internationally, people in their late 20s and early 30s to get to the next level, to overcome how to find purpose, how to create a $1 billion business, they go to coaches and spend 6-7 months doing multiple sessions. And that's what you can do. You can sign me on, and it'll be an investment of a lifetime, but it'll be worth every time, because you will go through a deep self-transformation journey through a coach. And I highly recommend it to everybody.
Yeah, even I recommend working with a coach because I have worked with one last
Oh,
year
lovely.
and I have seen the difference in me in my life. So definitely. And Jaya, how can people reach out to you? How can they connect with you?
So there are two ways of getting in touch with me. There is my networking platform, which is funded by IFL and sponsored by them. And it's been a great opportunity to work with them. And the webpage for that is wlc.org.in. And if you want to personally work with me as a leadership coach and a personal transformation coach, I'm available on jayamehrotra.com. There is an option to connect to me through a connect form in both the places, and just write to me there. Otherwise, very easily on LinkedIn, you can send me a message, both at Women Leadership Circle or Jaya Mehrotra, and we will reach out to you immediately.
Okay, got it. So Jaya, I will link all of this in the podcast show notes so that people can reach out to you.
Yes.
And thank you now for being with us on Little Fixes and sharing your insights, your valuable ideas on resilience. I'm sure it helped a lot of our listeners today.
Thank you. Thanks, Vetri, for having me. It was absolutely a pleasure talking to you and seeing your journey of resilience. And it's people like you who inspire other people to be stronger and bounce back.
अगर आपको ये एपिसोड वैल्यूबल लगा तो प्लीज हेल्प लिटिल फिक्सेस रीच मोर पीपल बाय शेयरिंग इट विद समवन यू केयर अबाउट. यू कैन ऑल्सो गिव अस अ शाउट आउट ऑन इंस्टाग्राम. मेरा हैंडल है @littlepixespodcast. दिस हेल्प्स मी इन ग्रोइंग द पॉडकास्ट और बहुत सारे और लोगों की हेल्प भी होती है इसको सुन के. आई एम ग्रेटफुल फॉर योर टाइम. अब मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वेडनेसडे को. तब तक के लिए खुद से प्यार करते रहो और सदा सैसी रहो. बाय.